Jesus. Now this morning, I don't I do not want to be very long. Just want to speak to you the next few moments under the caption overcomer. And before I proceed, sermon won't have any effect on you if you don't believe you are an overcomer. So if you believe that I want you to go for a chat. What I'm about to do this on you if you don't believe what I'm about to tell you. So I want to see someone type overcomer in the chat, because over in the chat is, if it is you believe that you're an overcomer, this sermon will have no effect on you. My bandwidth is a bit low, so forgive me if I'm breaking up. Thanks, Uncle B, for the heads up. But yes, type that word overcomer if it is that you believe that you are an overcomer. Jesus is overcome. I want to tell you a story. We pray, we get right into the mouth. Yeah, friends, there was an army back in the 18th century going to war. But the army they were going to fight against was an army bigger than theirs. Mercy. They were up against was an army bigger than theirs, and of course they was very fear, because they can rather recognize their and the army were about what understood, pray they could. They understood if they could pray to get through. So you know what happened? They went. Their captain wasn't, and the first person who died. The captain wasn't a Christian, and that's the first person who died. And when the army, when they got together and they recognized that they were in a chance, because the army that they were fighting against were not only bigger than them in number, but they had more advanced equipment and weapons. So they did not stand against this army, but as prayed. They knelt there in the middle of the field, in the bombs, helicopters with bombs flying overhead. They knelt right there in the middle of the field, about 18 of them. And when they said amen, they got up. They did not even have reload a gun. Hope somebody heard what I said. They did not even have to load a gun. They just kept walking and shooting and mending, because the God they serve was able to answer their prayers, and they all became overcomers. For this morning, my friends, overcomer. Let us pray. Oh Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, O Lord. Father, this morning I pray that you will hide me behind the cross in a way you have never done before. Many challenges, there are many obstacles presenting themselves even now. God, I pray that you will remove each and every one. Let your words go with power and with to strengthen people and to glorify your name. Othneil, Lammie at this time, and take all the honor, take all the way. In Jesus' name. Amen. So, Ori, Bible at this time. Some of you might have figured it out as you are Bible scholars. I believe I know Uncle Bowen and Kirsten and Auntie Patrice figured it out already. Yes, it's the story from Kings 6, verse 15. 2 Kings 6. I want to start at verse 15, and we can read verse 7. You should have your eyes. It's early hours of, I'm hoping. 2 Kings 6:15 through to 17 says, and when the servant of the man of God was risen early and forth, and hosts compassed the city, both with horse and chariots, mercy. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how we do? Answered, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elijah and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the young man, and he behold, the mountains were full of and chariot fire round about Elisha. Round about Elisha. Now, my friends, to give us some context and to our modern day life, we all experience trials. If there's a Christian you know that is something that is testing their faith, check that person out. If there's a Christian you know that some form of spiritual battle or some battle in life, check that person out. Because the devil has no need to attack that be already with him. But once he recognizes moving in a direction that will get you to spirituality, he is going to throw some stuff in to prevent you from it. We all temptation, we all these things as we all experience them, and sometimes some they might seem to be the best when they compass, when they surround us entirely, when they seem to be getting us under it. Sometimes they will be getting the better of you're going to school and the mathematics is giving you, come on, Kirsten, testify. Sometimes you're going to work and one co-worker won't stop nagging you day and night. You're going to the class teacher and that child at the back of the class stop nagging the rest of the students. Go through some form of in our lives, some trial. But my friends, I want to let you understand that greater are they that be with us than they that be against us. I want someone to understand. You might experience some trials here, be able to take you through the trials, are great they that are putting you through the trials. I want that the God you is the son of Abraham, Isaac, and you serve is the same God of the 3 Hebrew boys. The God you serve is the same God of Moses and the Israelites. The God you serve is God of way back. He never changed. He will never change. Jehovah, he is Prince of Peace, mighty fortress, and he's still a bulwark who hails. You can be a conqueror through Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
So we see here, verse 16, Elijah said, fear not. Those 2 words. I want you to take those 2 words with you through your work, throughout school, through wherever you are going today. Take those 2 words, fear not. Fear not, for that be with us are they that be with them. Now, no chief mathematician, but the Bible told me that Lucifer was cast out of heaven with 1/3 angels. And 1 from 3 remains. So if the devil has 1/3, there are still 2/3 up in heaven. Are you listening to me? If the devil was out with 1/3, there's 2/3 up in heaven. So let me tell you this. For every one demon the devil sends your way, 2 guardian angels standing around. Are you listening to me, somebody? One trial you face, God is making 2 ways of escape. You can pick, choose, and refuse, and because God is on your side. Elisha said, fear not, they us are more than that be with them. You to understand that you can in the midst of doubt, fear not. In the midst of stress, fear not. In the midst of sickness, fear not. In the midst, fear not. In the midst of envy, fear. In the midst of heartache, spiritual struggles, emotional damage and disturbance, fear not, because greater is he that is in you than they that be with them. God will make you overcomer. God will make you an overcomer. Now, I said I didn't plan to be long. I want to highlight these last few points in us off to work, school, or wherever we make. Some of us might already be on the road. I know we have early runners for me. So we have here in verse 17. We have here, you know, it's a dangerous thing to be in a situation and not be able to see. Have you ever seen rude boys teasing blind people? I'm not sure how many of us might have watched the movie for Samson, when they blinded him and he was in that amphitheater. They were in him, and because Samson was blind, he was basically helped. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but you poke him in the back, and because he will turn around to his, and he might be grabbing or to defend himself, but because he can't see, you can move around him and he doesn't recognize. Now, the servant in the story had eyes. See. The servant in the story had eyes, but could not see. We see in verse 7, Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and behold, the mountain was of course just of fire around about. The fact that the servant was here, and it meant that he wasn't really connected. He wasn't really connected. So in order for him to see, he had to be connected with God. That is why Elijah had to pray for him. If it is a connection, he would have prayed for himself. But Elijah having to pray for him connected. He prayed and God lifted the veils from eyes. And you know, sometimes we should just remain silent and trust God. See that he always sees the bigger picture. His ways or ways, neither his thoughts. Sometimes in the midst of your situation and you don't see how it is possible, but God always knows what is possible. Sometimes your fact is saying something you don't like. If you face that fact, put faith. So we understand that the servant hides, but he couldn't. And so God had to pray for the veil lifted. Now, I want someone here this morning. You might be in a situation, and just like the servant, you might be one God. This doesn't seem like it's my fight to win. You might, I don't think I can win this, but I want someone pray for yourself. Pray for your husband. Pray for your son or your daughter. Pray cousin, that grandparent. Pray for that person and let them lift the veils from their eyes, because they might not be able to see, but God sees the bigger picture. They might not be able to see the fact that angels are surrounding them, but God sees the bigger picture. Amen. You know, in closing, I'm thankful that God's angels are always around me. So in the midst of danger, the song says, I lift up mine eye to the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Who is the Lord? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in a green pasture. He leadeth me beside the waters, and he restoreth my soul. He leadeth in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Now watch this. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I will evil, because Jehovah, Jesus, the King of Kings and the Lord is with me. My rod and my staff, they comfort me. He is a table before me in the presence of my enemy. Anoints my head with oil, and my cup runs now. Surely, not a pity, but surelyness and mercy. All, not some, all action of all the and I will do in the house of Allah. But in the house of the Lord for and ever. Now greater are they with us than they that be with them. We are more than conquerors. Amen. Than conquerors. So I want someone this morning out to you. Mutual mind, that co-worker, that I am than you. I am a conqueror through Jesus. You're going to go into the classroom this morning and situation that you are more than a conqueror. You are going to go out into wherever it may be this morning and tell your different circumstances that I am more than a conqueror. As how is it that you are more than a conqueror, a sinner? You can tell the devil, I am not just a sinner. The grace of Jesus, and when I cry, Jesus gets angry, and when Jesus gets angry, he has to stand up and defend me. The Bible said it, not me. Michael will stand up for his people. That's why you're more than a conqueror. You know, watch this. As I close with Goliath, we have here a shepherd, is a chief warrior, someone who looks after sheep every day of his life. His hands are very soft because he's patting sheep, he's patting wool every day. And we are standing against a thick, a strong, huge giant who swords, spears, shield every day, who fights and brings arms for fun. That's how they train their giants then. They would put them in amphitheater with these weak men, and they would just break their limbs for their training. And we were standing now in an amphitheater watching David go up against this giant. We know how the story normally occurs. The story normally is the giant standing last. That's a fact. But you know what faith said? Faith said, David said, I come to you in the name of the Lord. Amen. I come to your name, and that alone gave David the power to defeat the. Go to your problems, go to your situation in the name of Jesus this morning, and tell them that you are more than a conqueror. God. Amen.